I think Teamotions is hands down the easiest, the most enjoyable wellness practice you could have. And I like to call it like the foundation. It really does help you have a foundation that you can build upon. It's not the end all be all modality. I realize that, but I think it's an excellent one that you can put other modalities on top of, where we are supporting our mind and body. We're really helping our body manage that stress to put us in a place where we can do the healing work. They've really been life-changing for us and a lot of people. Rachel, my sister, lived on these teas through her grief and swears and knows that they were a big component in allowing her to get to a place where she could do the work she had to do. So they're called teas for emotional well-being because that essentially is what they're for. But we played around with teas for hope and healing for a while. I just thought that was sweet that that is the name of your center, because that really was the heart of them. Like, my intention was to give my sister hope and healing from where she was. But our big thing was like, make it taste good, because medicinal teas that are currently on the market, or were back then, are not good. Like, they're not made to be an enjoyable experience. They are made to get you, herbal medicine in your body and you kind of just down it.
I am drinking Have Hope right now, and I am typically a put sweetener in my tea kind of person. I didn't put anything in this tea. It's delicious.
Welcome to the Wing Space Podcast, a place to take up space, where we talk about all things wellness, from nutrition to movement to sleep and stress, and so much more. With me, your host, Jennifer Voorhaar, along with special guests and experts within our Hope and Healing wellness community. Let's jump in.
This podcast is not a replacement for mental health treatment or professional health care. In case of crisis or emergency, please contact your local healthcare provider or dial 911.
Hey there, and welcome to the Wing Space Podcast, a place to take up space. I'm your host, Jennifer Voorhaar, and I am here today with Crystal Tenpenny, who is the founder of Teamotions Tea, and you're going to hear all about what that is and why I think it's so important for us to have them on our podcast and to partner with them here at Hope and Healing. But before we jump in, I do want to remind our listeners, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us to spread the message of mental health and wellness. So Crystal, it is a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is fun.
So I guess the first thing I'd like to say for our listeners is I just happened to come upon Teamotions as I was scrolling on Instagram one day. And I'm sure it's because I do a lot of mental health related scrolling anyway. So the algorithm hit me, but I was immediately drawn to Teamotions Tea, and I am happy to be drinking my first cup of it today. And so it just seemed like a natural choice for us to have them on the podcast and to have them a part of what we do here at Hope and Healing. So Crystal, can you introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us a little bit about your story and the Teamotions story?
Sure. I am Crystal. Like she said, I am the co-founder of Teamotions, and it's actually a company I created with my sister. I run it now, but it was a labor of love that we did together. And I think, I guess it's my company, and so I love our story, but we truly created something that we needed ourselves. Years ago, my sister, Rachel, she's my older sister, she was going through the hardest time of her life. She lost her twin baby daughters just a couple weeks after they were born, and obviously threw her into grief. And it was really the first time I think I've ever experienced something that profound. She'd ever experienced something that profound, and not really knowing like what to do. I just did the best I could, and I tried to show up for her, right? Like, I just tried to at least be there, visit her, something. Well, tea had always been a part of Rachel's life. She loved to try teas from other countries. Like, she had always had this affinity for tea, and it really became a support for her during this time. I really saw that it was something she used to comfort her. And I honestly, one day we were hanging out together. I was at her house. She had like her 6th cup of tea, and I just blurted, like, I wonder, if there's something I could put in your tea that could make you feel better. Because at that point, uh, what else? Like, I was at a loss. How do you help someone who is going through something like that? And I happen to have a background in herbal medicine. Like, we grew up in a household that was really into natural health, and like herbs and stuff were not foreign to us. And we had this moment where we were like, well, maybe we can, like, maybe that's a thing. So we kind of set out on this journey of like, what types of herbs exist that can help both like physical and emotional health. And so we found adaptogen herbs. And mind you, this was 16, 17 years ago. Like, this was before this type of herb like became mainstream. But I think people know about adaptogens now. I think we've all heard of ashwagandha, and we know about like lion's mane mushroom and stuff like that. 16, 17 years ago, no one knew what the heck we were trying to do. But we came across adaptogens. They were remarkable at just restoring balance to the mind and body. Like, they are actually considered well-being herbs because they help change the way you feel, as well as actual like physiology changes. And then things like nervines, which help calm the nervous system, and tonic herbs, which are really strengthening to the organ systems. And so we just went down this rabbit hole, and we started creating the first. Well, at the time, I didn't know it was going to be a business. At the time, I was strictly trying to make a tea blend for her, and she was struggling the most with her sadness. Like, that I could tell was kind of the veil over her. And so we created our first blend, which we now call Discover Joy. Back then, it was just a blend. And it's also one of the reasons it has the most ingredients in it, because I didn't realize I'd be making more. So I was just like putting everything that I could in that blend to make it something enjoyable for her, because she loved tea. I didn't want to take that away. I didn't want her to now have to drink something that's like gross and not something you look forward to, as well as kind of upping the ante and having this herbal medicine component that would actually help strengthen her body. So we created what's now called Discover Joy. She drank it, and over time we saw an actual like marked improvement. She would say things like, I feel like I can cope better. Like, I feel like I can actually be in a place where I can make the next best decision. Her mood would lift a little. Like, obviously we're not curing grief over here, but we are supporting the body through the stress that actually puts on the body, because emotional stress takes a very physical toll on us. And so once we kind of realized that was happening, we also realized that there were more emotions she was going through, problems she was having. And so that's over 18 months, we created our entire line of the 6 that we have. And it started as kind of going through like the phases of grief and like the core emotions that you go through. There's anxiety, and there's sleeping problems, and there's sadness like she had, and the anger. And in Chinese medicine and Eastern medicine, there's a lot of belief that emotions and the body are tied. And so they're kind of like a full circle loop. You can't have emotional health without physical health, and you can't really have physical health without emotional health. So they do this like little loop. So we formulated the teas to help support the certain organ systems of the body that are affected by that stress and those heavy emotions, so that if we're experiencing that, we're also supporting the body, but we're also supporting the body to help us not have such a negative effect of those feelings. So it's like this, it's this loop. So we use a lot of Eastern medicine concepts, but our big thing was like, make it taste good, because medicinal teas that are currently on the market, or were back then, are not good. They're not made to be an enjoyable experience. They are made to get you, herbal medicine in your body, and you kind of just down it.
Let me just interrupt you and say that I am drinking Have Hope right now, and I am typically a put sweetener in my tea kind of person. I didn't put anything in this tea. It's delicious. It's
Thank you.
delicious. So yeah, right. I totally agree with you. There's no weird aftertaste. There's no shock to my system. I love the combination of flavors. You're right. It's got to taste good.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna the only way it works is if we drink it, and we're not gonna drink it if it doesn't taste good. So we took a lot of time. So my sister actually, she isn't by trade, but she could probably be a chef. Like her palate and knowledge of like flavor profiles is very profound. So she did a lot of work in making sure that we used all the right herbs to have a flavor profile, but we also layer our tasting profile. So tea is like kind of notorious for having one flavor profile. You'll often find tea with like some flavoring on it, and like that's what you get, and it's kind of underwhelming. We have 3 flavor notes, a top, a middle, and a bottom, so that your whole experience like is a good one. And we add certain ingredients to do certain things. Like some of our ingredients strictly are for the mouthfeel of the tea, something that's smooth and silky, not like astringent and dry. So we did spend a lot of time making them effective first and foremost, but delicious. They're beautiful. Like the blends themselves are beautiful to look at. The liqueur that it brews is beautiful to look at, because part of healing and part of self-care and part of finding something that you enjoy and want to do, I believe should be something that you like to do. Like it should be beautiful and it should be something you look forward to. And so we wanted every aspect of our teas and the experience of them and the ritual that you build around them to be everything that you would want. They smell amazing. They have like aromatherapy properties. So getting back to our story. So we created that whole line of 6. Took us almost 2 years. And our friends and family started, being like, what are you guys doing? Like, what is this? So we would give them to them and they would have positive experiences. And then I also have like a business background. Those are my 2 loves, herbal medicine and business, were like just something I've always liked. And so I had told Rachel that I think we have something here. Like I made it for you. Other people are now interested and it's working for them. Like, do you want to see what we can do? And so we then turned it into an actual business. So your center, is your wellness center called Hope and Healing?
Yeah, Hope and Healing Therapy and Wellness Center.
Okay. When we were coming up with like our tagline and like what we're going to do, so they're called Teas for Emotional Wellbeing because that essentially is what they're for. But we played around with Teas for Hope and Healing for a while. And I just thought that was sweet that is the name of your center, because that really was the heart of them. Like my intention was to give my sister hope and healing from where she was. And now, I mean, it's been a while. She's done a lot of work. She's healed and wonderful. And she has her own grief coaching program. And like, we've had a good outcome. But I think like deep at the core of what is Teamotions, it is hope and healing. It's to give people comfort and support as they just go through life's challenges, because none of us are immune to life's challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that story, and so much of what you said just resonates with me. There's a reason why we're connected, clearly, since your tagline or part of what you were going to be saying was Teas for Hope and Healing, because that's what we truly are about. And I was just telling somebody the other day that I wish we had the afternoon habit of having tea like they do in England, because it's such a wonderful thing to do, and the ritual behind it. And from a mental health perspective, we talk about mindfulness, and the best way to engage mindfulness, or I'm sorry, the best way to have mindfulness is by engaging your senses. So when you take, let me just grab this tea here. So when you take this bag of tea, right, it's beautiful, all the colors, it really, it's amazing how a standard tea bag just is not the same as what you're going to experience
Has
when you have
loose
it.
leaf tea. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we're looking at all the senses, so I can clearly see it. It's beautiful marketing here. It tells me exactly what it is. So I'm drinking, for our listeners, have hope. It's peppermint cream with St. John's wort, holy basil, and oat straw to help relieve worry and angst. Blended with peppermint, roasted chicory root, and sweet white chocolate curls. And it's caffeine free because it's 1:15. Who needs lots of caffeine this afternoon? So my sight is intrigued. It smells so good. So not only is the loose leaf tea going to be aromatic for me, but then as it starts to brew and simmer, and then it tastes beautiful, right? That's 3 of our senses right there. The warm cup in our hands. So I just love that mindful experience of making tea, and why not have quality products while you're doing it. And your company has been around for how long now?
16 years.
Wow.
Which I will say, we started this idea before like running an online store was as easy as it is now. And
Yeah.
like there was no such thing as Facebook ads. So we've gone through iterations of like how to sell it, right?
Mhm.
We were retail for a while, and then we were like, this doesn't feel right. We can't quite get the education. Then we turned to like an in-home tea tasting model that did really well. But then we were like, but now I feel like we can't get into other places we're trying to get into. And then I'd say 5 or 6 years ago, I made the switch to like, we're going to be e-commerce. Like we are going to sell online and do that. So I think we're newer to most people just because we haven't been on the internet for that long. But we've been around for 16 years. Our blends have just been tried and true for 16 years. These blends that you have are what I call like our core blends. We have them all the time. I develop seasonal blends, like we're about to launch holiday teas in October. I'll have new blends next spring or summer. So we're always coming out with like different flavor profiles, different things that the teas support. But this particular line of our 6, we have always had and will always have, because those are, I think, kind of like the true foundational products for us. We just really tried to marry, just like you were saying, when you're working with like mental, emotional health, you have to bridge the like intentional mindfulness side with like an actual, physical support side. And we really tried to marry that in our product. Just like you were saying, there's so much scientific studies out there that show the mere act of making a cup of tea reduces our stress, because we have to be present. You have to pay attention when you're making tea. You can't do it fast. You're going to burn yourself or ruin the tea. Like it
Right.
is an actual, act you have to slow down for. And then it does stimulate all your senses. So you're very present. And then hot tea is calming. But then the tea itself and the herbs that are in our blends then actually like go to work and they calm your nervous system. And they restore balance. And they actually help like take you out of fight or flight so that you can switch back into like a parasympathetic, rest and digest mode, so that you can actually do the healing work you need to do. And if you're going to be doing this, like I think Teamotions is hands down the easiest, the most enjoyable wellness practice you could have. And I like to call it like the foundation. It really does help you have a foundation that you can build upon. It's not the end all be all modality. I realize that, but I think it's an excellent one that you can put other modalities on top of. If we can just get our 3 tea a day daily habit where we are supporting our mind and body, we're really helping our body manage that stress to put us in a place where we can do the healing work. They've really been life-changing for us and a lot of people. Rachel, my sister, lived on these teas through her grief and swears and knows that they were a big component in allowing her to get to a place where she could do the work she had to do. Because, I mean, our story, I guess, really came from that like heavy grief, but stress in general takes a toll on our body. And we have to, and we're never not going to have stress. I think that's the important thing. We're never not going to have stress. So we can build our body up stronger under that stress so that we can handle. It's like going to the gym. The heavier weights you lift, the easier they feel over time because you have strong muscles now. Like we're building the strength and the resilience to handle the stress because we can't get rid of the stress. And this, I've been doing it I have 3 or 4 or 6 cups a day. Like I love having my tea and I look forward to it every day. And it is, the way we named them, we have like achieve clarity and discover joy and seek peace. My hope was that when you're a Teamotions drinker, that you really do like kind of a self check-in with all your cups of tea and you just ask yourself, how am I feeling? What do I need? And you read the names of the tea and you reach for the one that feels like what you need. And that changes all the time because what we need changes all the time. And that's okay. Teamotions is unique like that. You can mix and match but it helps you like self-identify. How am I doing? What do I need? And sometimes you say, I'm cool. I'm fine. I'm just going to have this cup. And other times, I think this week was a really heavy week for a lot of us here. I found myself really reaching for some of the teas that I was like, I need extra support. I need to know that I'm doing something tangible for that intangible experience I'm having. And that's the other part of it. Like emotions are not tangible, right? Like you can't like pick your anxiety off your forehead. We feel them and we experience them. But if we can do something tangible that represents to us that we are tending to ourselves, tending to that emotion, I think it's so powerful. And so Teamotions also is so great for that.
You're just speaking my language. I couldn't have said any of those things better. We talk up to our clients all the time about just building our toolbox because what coping skill works in one situation may not work in the other. And so this is clearly a tool to have in your toolbox. And we often talk to our clients about, do that self check-in. And, we use the, 0 to 10. How are you feeling? And I love that, when you order your products, you get this really cool card in the mail that number one tells you on the back how to brew the perfect cup. But then it also tells you what each of these teas are, what their ingredients are. And when I was looking just a little while ago to decide which one, I kind of read through this and relieve worry and anxiety. It's been a heavy week for sure. And I still have a little bit more work to go today on my Friday. So I thought, let me just reduce my anxiety a little bit. And I love that you can do that mental check-in as you're getting ready to prepare your tea and say, how am I feeling? And what do I need to support my body right now? I mean, who doesn't have time for a cup of tea, right? I mean, even if it's on the go.
Yeah, exactly. And who doesn't, it's enjoyable. And it's not like, I think sometimes we think of like self-care and all of these extra things we have to do as like actual extra time and effort. And I could speak for myself, but probably most everyone, like I don't have a lot of extra time to do elaborate rituals. I cannot take a bath with candles, like anytime not that, that's just my life. Like I have so much time. Tea, it just fits in. You already drink beverages. Might as well just have tea be one of them. Most of us drink coffee. You could replace it. Like it's not, it shouldn't cause any extra stress on you to incorporate Teamotions. It should do the opposite. And that's another reason. Yeah, you can drink it hot. You can drink it iced. You can brew it ahead of time. But 5 minutes. Instead of picking up your phone and scrolling Instagram, go make a cup of tea.
Right.
Teamotions tea.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Well,
like
and our nutritionist would say this also counts towards your daily water intake because it's herbal tea. There's
yes.
nothing else here but some herbs. So, I like a big cup of tea. So I actually made a 10 ounce instead of an 8 ounce. That's 10 ounces of water that I've just consumed while also
Getting all
relieving
the
worry and
herbs.
anxiety. Regular water's
Exactly.
not going to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's is probably one of the easiest things. I drink so much tea a day. Because it makes me feel better and I love the ritual and I know I'm doing something good for myself. And sometimes it's funny because you're like, it's just a cup of tea. And I'm like, it's not just a cup of tea.
Hmm.
Like it's a cup of Teamotions tea. And it's how I can show love for myself, care for myself, support myself, comfort myself, no matter what. And it is just so easy and good.
And I will admit that I have not been a loose tea drinker in the past. My best friend's sister actually owned a tea shop in North Carolina, and I went there and it was a lovely experience. And I just never did loose leaf tea, and so I think there may be people who are listening that are thinking, well, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to make my own tea bags. I don't have Well, let's just break it down. If you have time to grab a Keurig K-cup and stick it in your coffee maker, you have time to put a scoop of tea into the infuser cup and then stick it in your cup. Or these filler bags are super easy, and you can even buy a little teaspoon, or we all have teaspoons. You just scoop it out, cinch the bag, stick it in your cup. It's really not that hard. It's an extra step for a regular tea bag drinker because, it's just a bag, you stick it in there, but the
Yeah,
benefits are
it's
so much
not.
more.
Yeah, we want it. So interestingly enough, I was not a tea drinker before Tea Motion. Maybe my sister would make me a cup of tea, but like I wasn't a tea drinker.
Hmm.
Then of course we start Tea Motions and I cannot imagine my life without tea. That's the
Hmm.
crazy part. So I also had to learn, like I was like, how do you make tea? This sounds crazy. This is overwhelming. And to your point, it's really not. And we've created so many products to go
Hmm.
with your tea that make it like a no brainer. We
Yeah.
give you the scoop to use, we give you the bags to fill, we give you that infuser. And it really is nothing more. Like if you heat water for your coffee, you're just going to heat water for your tea. Like it
Hmm.
actually isn't, it might be foreign and so it feels difficult, but like it really isn't.
Yeah.
And once you do it one time, I think you're like, oh, yeah, this wasn't as big of a deal as
Sure.
I
Well, and
originally
it's
thought.
also the ritual, right? And giving yourself that time to go through that process. I wanted to go back to something else that you said, Crystal, when you were talking about the original creation of the company and that it came out of a need of your sister. And I was just recording a podcast actually yesterday with our grief therapist at our practice. And one of the things we talked about was that meaning making is so important when we're grieving. And your story and Rachel's story really does make meaning and honor the lives of your nieces Ellie and Aubrey, and it gives your family a place to then honor them and to watch it grow and watch their lives continue to carry on. And that's just such an important part of that grief process. And I love that you have honored them in that way. And side note, we share the same birthday, as I share the same birthday as the twins. So,
Huh,
you know,
special.
yeah, I immediately felt connected. Anything else about the tea itself that you want to share with our listeners before we let them know how they can get their hands on this delicious product?
Yeah, I mean, I think it maybe is just important to reiterate that though our story came from grief, you do not have to be grieving to like
Mhm.
benefit from the teas. They truly are a self-care practice to help you cultivate emotional wellness, to help you manage the stresses, to help
Mhm.
you, give your body the things that it needs to really restore balance. Um, and for all of us, like that comes in all different shapes and sizes. Um, Some days even are better than others. Like I'm going to say it again, but like this week was a hard week in America. I feel like a lot went down.
Yeah.
And it's so comforting to me to know that even though I've been at this for 16 years and I drink my tea every day and I do my check-ins and I'm very self-aware and I would say have very good emotional wellness skills, life can be heavy, and just having that thing that supports you on the days it is heavy and the days it isn't,
Mm-hmm.
you know, is something that I think everyone could benefit from. So I just, the teas are wonderful. They taste amazing. They're made to mix and match and really work with you. You don't have to be experiencing something terrible. They truly are a wonderful foundational like self-care practice to incorporate into your life that really just makes every other part of your life, in my opinion, better.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the list here on this little quick brew guide, and Achieve Clarity says improve memory and focus. Okay, well, I'm thinking we're having coffee in the morning for what purpose? For for memory and for focus to wake ourselves up. It has caffeine in it, so kind of serves the same point
Perfect.
there. And then discover joy, enhance mood, and lift spirits. Who doesn't need a little extra support for their mood? Seek peace, encourage emotional release and inner peace. Have hope, we already said, relieve worry and anxiety. Enjoy rest, foster rest and relaxation. I mean, I'm thinking that's a great one for before bed tea.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
finding strength, bolster inner strength, confidence, and perseverance. Those are all things that we can all use support in throughout our days, regardless of how heavy the day seems, regardless of what our inner and outward struggles are. Whatever we're going through, we can all benefit from support in those areas for sure.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. And the teas, they really, yeah, they just, again, stress affects us in so many ways. And these are literally the kind of, in my opinion, it was like the core main 6 ways. Like stress can interrupt your sleep. Stress
Mhm.
can cause you to have, self-doubt and like lose a little bit of motivation. Stress absolutely shows up in our brain and we can't really think straight or feel like we know how to make the next best decision. And
Mhm.
the teas, because of all the herbal components. So we talked a lot about like the ritual of it, but there are actual medicinal herbs in these blends that are blended in such a way that give you, or help you with the memory and the focus and relieving anxiety and worry. And you said it earlier and you were exactly right. Like they are tools and
Mhm.
they should be used like as a tool in your toolbox. But we have a tea, yeah, for everything. So on our site, you can like get the whole shebang. Like we have a big, complete, emotional wellness complete set. That's everything we have at Teamotions. Or you can take a quiz we have and we'll help you identify the 3 teas that are going to be best for you based on your unique needs at the time you took that quiz. You can create your own bundle. There's lots of ways to use Teamotions. You
Mhm.
could just buy 1 tea and start there. You want to make sure you have about 3 cups a day. That is the therapeutic dose of herbal infusions, Teamotions, teas, and other infusions alike. That's why we recommend like a morning, kind of afternoon, evening. That gets you your 3 cups, but that also gives you a check-in 3 times a day. Kind of that built-in check-in. And so lots of ways to get started, but in order to really get the most from them, we encourage, the 3 cups a day, to get the real benefits. And it really doesn't matter which Teamotions teas, as long as they say Teamotions on them. I encourage you to drink them in your day.
Yeah. So we're recording this in mid-September, so it is officially pumpkin spice season. And I know that there are people who are listening saying, well, I got to have my pumpkin spice latte. I got it. I got to do it. Right. So just the other day, I saw on your Instagram that you shared a recipe about how to use Seek Peace, which is a chai blend, to make a pumpkin spice latte. And for those of you that might be the apple cider team instead of the pumpkin spice team, Enjoy Rest is an apple cinnamon chamomile. So I I think that it's really cool that people can personalize this experience as well. And, you can still enjoy those seasonal things because if
Mhm.
our listeners follow you on Instagram, I'm sure on your website, you share some of these things too, some cool recipes to be able to use the teas, still get the medicinal herbal effects, but then also enjoy what you like to enjoy.
Yeah, and incorporate them into your real life. Like, I do think that's also really important when you're, working on just better mental health, healing, all of that, is we have to do things we enjoy, things that bring us enjoyment.
Yeah.
Food is one of those things, tea is one of those things. So you don't have to miss out on the world. Like
Mhm.
we can all be part of, I admit I love when it's pumpkin spice season. I like the change, and it's fun. And I might have one of them because I don't think they're super good for you. But the Teamotions version is excellent. And
Yeah.
Rachel and I created the teas to be what we felt was like the best foundational blend you could have. And by all means, they will not work if you don't drink them. So
Mhm.
however you enjoy them, please do that. If you want to add milk and sugar, go ahead. If you like to add honey, not a problem. They aren't like, I love them plain, but I also love, Seek Peace is it's a caffeine free chai, which I think is also, chais are usually caffeinated. It's one of our best selling blends. Like people just go crazy. And yeah, it makes an amazing pumpkin spice. Like all of our, like the peppermint cream you're drinking now turns into like the most wonderful hot chocolate, a mint hot chocolate. And so, yeah, you can incorporate the teas into really every part of life and still get the benefits, but also, find different way. I do it all the time. I turn the Achieve Clarity into like a London fog, just all sorts of stuff because that's life. I like to mix things up and the teas work really well um with doing stuff like that. So yeah, our pumpkin spice, if you haven't tried it yet, it's very very easy to make and it is very delicious.
I have not tried it yet. I do have the recipe. I took a snapshot of it, and my plan is to do it tomorrow morning. A little treat for a Saturday morning. So
There you
yeah,
go.
I'm definitely going to try it. So for our listeners, we have actually partnered with Teamotion. So we will have products in both of our locations in Leonardtown and in Prince Frederick here in Maryland. We will also have a link on our website that if you are kind of more familiar with going to our Hope and Healing website through us, you can also go straight to the Teamotions website, check out their story, and order the products. And we'll make sure that all those links are included in the show notes because I don't want you to have to search for it. I want it to be easy enough for the listeners to find. Um, so, Crystal, thank you so much for joining me today. I have really enjoyed this conversation, and it sounds like you and your sister Rachel are really on the same wavelength as we are here at Hope and Healing, just really wanting to help people have the tools they need to heal during not so difficult, stressful times and very difficult, stressful times.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to meet you. We are so excited to be partnered with you. Through your link, new customers can get $15 off their first order. I don't know if
Yes,
you,
I wasn't sure if it was 15% or $15, so I wasn't gonna to say
yeah,
that, but yes, thank you for
$15.
that reminding. $15 off your first order
Yeah.
if you use our link. So make sure that you take advantage of those savings. Selfishly, Crystal, can you tell me when are those seasonal blends gonna come out? You said next month.
Yeah, they come out in October, early October.
All right, I will be keeping an
Yeah.
eye out for those for sure. I love seasonal things, and this is my favorite time of year. Fall leading into the holidays, it's just my favorite time, and so why not
Mhm.
just enjoy these wonderful teas while I'm at it. So again, thank you so much for joining me, Crystal. For our listeners, thank you so much for listening. We do hope that each of our episodes brings just a few nuggets of goodness for those of you who tune in. And if someone in particular came to mind while you were listening to this episode, go ahead and share it with them. Thanks so much for listening and have a great day.
Bye.